And at this point in time, we're going to move on to the more social part of the event where I think they're going to put us in random breakout rooms and we can say hello. I think we'll do this twice. And it maybe for about 10 minutes. Does that sound okay? And so anybody that wants to stick around to talk with people in the breakout room, please stick around and we can get to know one another a little bit better. Following that, we will continue discussion if people still want to talk. Thanks again, Sylvia. Thanks again, Chris. Thanks again, Bill Gibson, for the awesome moderation. I'd also really like to thank Dan Mortensen for his help coordinating this event. I'll continue more thanks at the end of the event.
So as part of that coordination, we didn't work out how big the rooms would be or for how long, really. Gary, do you want to divide up the number of people by 6 or something and make that number of rooms?
Okay, we've got 42 people here now. So how many rooms do you want?
7.
7 it is. Assign automatically.
Yeah, so this will be random.
Are you ready?
And ready. And maybe for 4 minutes or 5 minutes, 10 is a long time.
That's fine.
Okay. All right, here we go. Well, should we do it again? Breakout rooms?
Ours was
game
fun.
for one more.
What did other people feel about it?
Oh, some people didn't have very many people there, or the people there maybe didn't want to turn on their cameras and mics or anything. But
okay,
we had a good
we're
group.
out making a sandwich.
that's fair.
It's Zoom. That happens a lot on Zoom.
Yeah.
People disappear for turn off their cameras and go do something else. I have students who do that.
In the bathroom. Should we do one more round of?
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, let's try
see
again.
a show of hands. I say yes.
Can somebody let me start my camera back up? It says we'll start video. Your video can stop.
Sorry about that, Fred. That yeah, thanks for reaching out to us. That happens if we turned your camera off and then you have to ask
I
us to
turned
turn
it off
on.
at the beginning.
Charleston over there, all the speakers.
Okay, let's do another random breakout here, and let's see. We got 27 people.
5 rooms.
Hi, Alan.
5 rooms. Bye, Alan.
Oh, I was rattling the dice to throw.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do 5 rooms. Coming up. Poof.
And we're back.
All right, looks like we're all back. Still can't turn on my video.
That was fun.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
It was great.
Yeah, we survived.
It's like a wrinkle in time.
Hey, Bruno.
I suppose at this point in time, we often would do brief introductions. Do we want to do that?
Yes.
Get to know yous? Okay.
I'm going to bail. I'm about to sleep. So thank you
Bob,
all.
do you want to start?
Wonderful
Do you want to say a few words about yourself before you go? No.
I'm afraid that my cognitive function is in the toilet now.
No,
I've been up
no
since
pressure.
6 this morning. So
Oh,
good to
my.
meet you all. Have a great rest of your meeting.
You're talking from where?
Have a
From
great
where?
evening.
Oh, I'm in the great Northwest, just a few miles from the Edmonds Ferry off Puget Sound.
Take care,
So
Bob.
I'm in the same area as these guys. Bye-bye now.
Bye, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Keep tight.
Bob was nearby
See you,
me,
Bob.
and I got to go too. Bob is nearby
See
me,
you,
and I got to
Steven.
go too.
Okay.
Okay, Stephen. Yeah, Bob is our vice chair. So he's here a lot, and anyway, Dan, would you be willing to call on people?
I got to
Yes.
I got to go to work, so I got to check out here.
Okay,
you,
do you want
Stephen.
to
Thanks for
say who
coming.
you are and where you are and your audio connection, and then go?
You want me to do? Yeah, sure.
Sure.
When I was in high school, some stage band thing let me do their sound for them. Some local guy had a garage. He let me help him in his garage, and that kind of got me going, especially since my brother was like a musician, and I figured, well, maybe I'll learn how to record. So I went to Shoreline Community College near Seattle and got a degree in audio engineering, 3.9 GPA, got a MIDI music production degree. Later on, I also got the University of Washington sound production certificate, and I also went to the recording workshop in Chillicothe, Ohio, and got several of their certificates. But I mostly did this just to learn maybe how to record my own music and help others. But a studio situation was supposed to happen. That didn't happen. And so I'm still kind of hanging out here in the ether going, what am I going to do with all this audio education I have? Will anybody ever hire me? Will I ever work in the industry? I'm not sure. That's where I'm at. I did some film sound for a year too, but yeah.
All right, well, good luck with that and good to see you. Take care.
Yeah, have fun. Take care.
Let's go to Tim. Let's go to my buddy Tim from the last breakout session.
Hello. How's it going?
There you are.
So my name is Tim Baglio. I live in Bellingham, Washington, and for the most part, I do acupuncture and Chinese herbs, although I have some connection to the recording people here in the Northwest, and I do some recording myself.
Cool, thanks. And my other buddy from that same breakout session, Vebov.
Hey guys, greetings from India. I'm Vaibhav, just a student of audio. I just got into it because I found the idea of a $300 recording studio on YouTube very interesting, and just led me to a rabbit hole. So now I'm pursuing a diploma in pro sound.
What time is it in India right now?
It's 9:45 in the morning right now.
Oh, that's easy.
Tomorrow. And that's tomorrow, if you realize that. So
space time, we're in the future.
Yeah.
So 10 a.m. is civilized.
I always remember when I was at Multnomah College, the amateur radio room, right next to WWV. You tune in Radio Australia, and you hear tomorrow's news today.
Awesome.
Dan, do you want to pass the mic to another person, or is Dan still here?
He's muted or something.
I ran out of battery, sorry.
That's been a common theme tonight.
Yeah, really. So Rod, where are you and what's your audio connection?
Well, I'm in the Portland, Oregon area, Milwaukee, Oregon, and sort of a gray area between Milwaukee and Happy Valley. Technically, I'm in rural Clackamas County. I do recording in this area. I'm also an electrical engineer and have had a long career in that. But I'm much retired from that now, and I'm one of the life members, not only of AES, but the IEEE and SMPTE. So,
is it really happy in Happy Valley?
I have to walk about a mile to find out. So.
Have to walk a mile for your happiness. Cool. Thank you.
Valley, not Happy Valley.
Yeah.
Well, there's Pleasant Valley. There's also a place called Gladstone, which is referred to as Happy Rock locally. So. Anyway.
Cool, thanks. Rick, where are you? What's your audio connection? Rick Chin.
Oh my. Let's see. I'm in Sammamish, which is a bedroom community across Lake Sammamish from Microsoft. And what do? I'm an escaped live sound engineer, and now I do mostly recording, although Mr. Virus has pretty much tubed that. However, I actually have a gig on the 13th, recording at Benaroya Hall, which you can see in my background. And it's that particular group. We'll have fun. That's and I'm the webmaster for the section.
What's that group?
Ensign, Orchestra, and Chorus. They're loosely fronted by the LDS Church.
Cool.
Sounds like a good gig.
Yeah, I hope that goes well.
It is. They're actually pretty good.
Jess, where are you and what's your audio connection?
Hello, everyone. Jess Berg, excuse me, currently in West St. Paul, Minnesota. I'm also a committee member of the audio engineering of this chapter. I'm a very proud and honored member. I'm currently spending quality time with family and friends here back where I'm from, and yeah, my audio connection, I've been a live sound engineer going on 18 years. Also done some studio broadcast work here in Minneapolis, moved to LA, got out on the road touring also as tour manager, production manager, mostly front of house, also monitors. And I just love this world, and happy to be here tonight. It was fantastic. So great to see everyone. Thanks so much for tonight. So.
Great, thanks, Jess. Gary Gottlieb, where are you?
Thanks, Dan. So I'm Gary Gottlieb. I was a recording engineer and producer in New York through the 80s, when we actually had big record projects, big studios in New York. But in the 90s, mid 90s, I moved to New England, and I got my master's degree, started teaching at a few different colleges in the area. I'm doing my best to make a long story short here. I took a job at Webster University in St. Louis, ran their audio program, published a few textbooks, a little of this, a little of that, but all audio related. I did live sound, I did sound reinforcement at different times. And then I revitalized the AES the AES section, which hadn't done anything for 13 years in St. Louis. And I also helped create the Webster University student section there in St. Louis. And then I moved to DC, and I was in leadership in the section there for a bit. Former vice president of the Eastern region. I'm now located in Ukiah, California, very happily located in Ukiah, California. And the vice chair of the San Francisco section. And I am also the co-chair of the historical committee and the chair of the conference committee under the events coordination committee. So for those of you who are going to AVAR, you know, I'm looking forward to that show. Yeah, it was really fun helping put that one together. And
AVAR?
I might just pop up there. Yeah, at DigiPen. They do.
All right.
Well, yeah. So yeah, so you're gonna be there too, Jess. It looks like, and I know a few other people I spoke to here are involved. Greg, of course, and you know, it's gonna be a fun show. I highly endorse it.
Great. All right. Thank you, Fred.
Hi there. I'm Fred Dominigoni, normally from Phoenix, Arizona, currently in Orcas Island. I'm a live sports audio engineer. Been doing television for about close to 40 years now. Just got off the road with 3 months of doing Fox College football, doing some cool technology where it's actually what they called a home run production. The shows were actually produced in Los Angeles, but we were as far away as Penn State across the country, feeding video and audio back to the studio. And I was actually submixing all of the ambience in the stadium with the exception of the camera microphones because of the latency of running everything over the internet. I would feed my mixer in Los Angeles, the camera mics, and he would track those as the director would call them. But I did everything else. I was in charge of all the stadium sound in 4.0, basically. My announcers were going back over the internet, Dante. So I had really no way to talk to them. Everything was done from Los Angeles. Pretty cool, pretty interesting learning all this new stuff. But just being a live sound guy for all these years, it was fun being on the road with a bunch of really good people. And that's all I got at the moment. And I wanted to say hi to Dan. I was actually part of your group a few years ago, and then I bowed out because I'm just never home. I'm always out doing something, and your meetings would show up in my inbox, and I just couldn't attend. So I think I bowed out a few years ago, but glad to see you guys are still doing your thing.
Thank you. And I would look forward to seeing, you were going to show us sometime what you do, because it just sounds fascinating and there's a whole different world for me. So anytime. All right. Thank you. Janie.
Yeah, Janie Wallach, and I've been recording live music in the greater Seattle area. Well, in the greater Seattle area since I moved here in '85, but before that, in Houston and in New York City as well. So, and I just found out today that a band who has not played in a show in about 15 years are going to be playing at the Crocodile on the 29th of this month, and they want me to record, and the Crocodile are always amenable and let me record. So if anybody is interested in helping me out with that show, it would be great to meet you. And I'm going to put my website in the chat. So that has all of my contact info. So please feel free to contact me regarding the show on December 29th. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Janie. And before I introduce Craig or ask Craig to talk, I just want to thank everybody for having, almost everybody for having a unique name. So I can just say your first name and you'll know who I'm talking about. So Craig, where are you and what do you do audio wise?
Oh, sorry.
Fred, you're unmuted there. Craig, are you able to kick in here? Craig Smith? Apparently not. Okay, Arkit?
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hello, Dan. It's Archit.
Archit, all right. Hi. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. I was just talking to Weber when I realized we both are from the same university. What a coincidence.
Great.
Audio world is small that way, right?
That's the point of this, is to make connections.
Yes, indeed. So my name is Archit, and I'm studying music production at a university in India. And before studying production, I was an electrical electronics engineer and I switched to music. So I'm fairly new to this world. And I'm hoping to learn more while I'm here and learn from all of you as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being with us. Are you located anywhere near Vebev? India is a big country.
From the same city, I found out. Yeah, yes.
You're in New Delhi too?
Yes, indeed.
Whoa.
But right now I'm at college in Maharashtra.
Okay, cool. That's great. I hope you guys can connect. That would be fun to get more people in India connected.
Yes, indeed.
All right, thank you. Adi.
Hi, everybody. My name is Adi. I am in Victoria, British Columbia. My background is in anthropology. I studied anthropology at Columbia and then did 10 years of music production, mostly in Ableton. And now I'm studying spatial audio. And I'm combining anthropology and spatial audio and working on how to assign sound to cultural memory. So I'm working on for my thesis project, there's a sculpture called the Witness Blanket that is a memorial to survivors, Indigenous survivors of Canadian residential schools. And I am doing the sound for the VR version of the blanket. So that's why I'm here. I'm a big sound nerd. This is a really great event. I'm really excited to be connected with you guys. I just finally found the website for the AVAR. So I just missed it, I guess. So that's too bad. But next one, I will definitely.
No, it's coming up.
It's in August. I thought it was December 3rd.
No, there's a thing in August.
Oh, okay.
It's over the summer, yeah. You have
okay, great. Maybe I found the wrong website. Okay, great. Then I'll definitely be a part of that.
It would be great to see you there.
Thanks.
Yeah, that thing you're doing sounds fascinating. Do you ever want to talk about it with an interested group of people on a Saturday?
I'd love to.
Would you?
Anytime.
We would love to listen to you. And can you send me? Well, I do the Eventbrite thing, so yeah, great. and I'll send you. We do it every Saturday pretty much. So great. That would be swell.
I'd be happy to.
Let's see, Joe Carter.
Ah, yes. Okay. Well, first of all, happiness is living life below 20 kilohertz. So, but I joined the Audio Engineering Society when I was in high school. I applied in 1969 and got accepted into AES in January 1970, and I've been a member ever since. I'm past chairman of the Audio Engineering Society in Los Angeles, and I was secretary and executive committee member for many years as well there. And just recently, 3 months ago, I moved to Nashville, Tennessee area, so that's where I am now. Let's see, I spent many years working at Disney, designing software for the attractions at the Disney parks. If anyone's ever been on Soarin' or Soarin' over California, which is now Soarin' around the world, I did ride control software for that and did a lot of show control software as well. But I spent many years also just as a hobby recording in the Chicago area initially before I moved to LA, recording symphony orchestras and choirs and big bands. And then Disney moved me out to LA when I took my job there at Feature Animation and then Disney Imagineering after that. And then, yeah, let's see. So I guess that's about it. And then just ended up here kind of retiring in the Nashville area. So still other people here live life below 20 kilohertz too. I can find folks here that I can do mind melds with.
Are you part of the Nashville section? They have an active AES section there. Yeah.
Yeah, I just contacted the chair of this section here, and they're going to be sending me emails. So somehow I'll get connected in with them. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, they're probably second to us in terms of great activities. I can't say that without laughing. Sorry. They're a really great section.
I can attest to that, having attended one of their meetings in the past. So.
Well, I look forward to meeting up with them.
All right, good. Thank you for coming to this. Bruno, where are you and what's your audio connection?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, I'm in Seattle, Washington. I'm in the studio creative process, more as a producer and a mixer, as well as a songwriter musician. And always trying to keep up on my knowledge curve, as it always is happening here in the audio world, technology with Dante, and it's great to see what I can do with that and audio over IP, and definitely getting into more of the immersive audio and bringing that more into my productions. I'm primarily stereo mixer, so. But one thing that recently sort of triggered something about that is looking at it as doing it immersive and then having a stereo mix from that. This seems like the fold down and being able to have more platforms for your music quickly seems to be the route to go for me. So I'm looking forward to expanding and learning. And if with Adi, if she chooses to share knowledge, that'll be great to hear. Thank you.
Are you setting up your studio to mix and surround or immersive or 12.50 or whatever?
Well, if I first, my room is rather small, so it'd have to be under a binary headset and the conversion that's happening that way.
Ah.
At first.
Uh-huh. Interesting. Okay. Thank you.
Good to see you, Bruno.
It's great to see you, Bill.
You guys know each other?
Oh, yeah.
I'm also a member of the Recording Academy and a member of AES too.
Yeah. Bruno's done a lot of cool stuff. He's an instrument inventor too.
Really?
No, not so much that.
Prove it.
No. Create the creative sonics soundscapes, more of that.
That's
cool. If you want to share that on a Saturday, let me know. That would be fun. That would be fun to see.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Alan.
Hey there.
Hey.
Alan Guerin. I'm in Portland, Oregon. Broadcast engineer for 25, 30 years, and then got tired of the corporate world and been working on the music industry primarily since then, doing whatever people need, building studios, et cetera. And I'm speaking of batteries, it says my battery's running low too. But just keeping everything busy and having fun doing that. I deal with all the electronics and everything on the production side, and enabling people to record it and produce music. And but in terms of my music, personally, I deal totally with acoustic music. So we got 0 electrons is what I use, because I play the fiddle and play mostly traditional American music.
Awesome. Thank you. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Louis.
I'm Gary Louie. I am the secretary of the AES Pacific Northwest section, and I'm a life AES member, and I'm the chair of the Tellers Committee for the AES, which runs the elections. And my normal job is at the University of Washington School of Music, where I'm an audio guy, I guess.
Okay, thank you. And I see Eduardo Larez joined us, and I think you weren't here actually for the meeting. What we're doing is, this is post-meeting, and we are introducing ourselves and saying what our audio connection is and where we are. Are you able to talk to us?
Oh, yes. Hello. How are you?
There you go. Hi,
Can you
fine.
hear
How are
me?
you? Yep, we hear you
Good.
fine. Don't see you, but we hear you.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm an audio engineer. I'm based in Los Angeles. My friend Antonio Romero is a sound designer. Send me the link. We're always talking about it. So
great.
Interested. Thanks.
Well, you missed
Good
the
to
big
see you
part of the
guys.
meeting for sure.
Oh,
There
I
will
was
be
busy.
there will be a video of it on our website at some point.
Awesome.
So yeah, it was
Thanks
really
for the
cool.
information.
What kind of stuff, audio stuff do you do?
Well, I have a dual career. So I work with live sound with a few artists for like 25 years. And I also mix for post when I'm at home, not touring.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thanks. So we mainly do just 5.1 and stereo. So I'm always interested in seeing what's going on.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bill.
I think I already got my introduction, but one thing that I wanted to mention is that I am on the National Education Committee for AES, and there's some really cool stuff coming up. And if you're a student, it's just be a great time. If you don't already belong to AES, it's just, there's so many resources, so many people, and right now we're in the process of designing some really cool programs in the coming year. So I've been a member since 85, I guess. There was a time period in there when the cost of membership was a little steep for a young family, but I only had a few years out on that, and it's always been a good resource of really smart people. And I was part of the Recording Academy too, very heavily involved, but I've been on this committee, and it's a good group of people. So I'm pleased as punch to be a part of it and recommend it highly.
Great. Thank you. And good job tonight, by the way. That was
Thanks.
That was really fun.
It's pretty easy with those guys, man. They're just so good.
They're so comfortable doing all of that. It's really great. Greg.
Hi, everybody. My name is Greg Dixon, and I am currently serving as the chair of the AES Pacific Northwest section. And I'm a longtime audio engineer, recording engineer, mix engineer, master engineer, but I've been really deeply involved in interactivity in sound. So starting with doing like art installations and concert performances and interactive software development for music. and that eventually led me into the field of video games. And that's where I've been working for the past 7 years or so. And I'm a teacher at a local university here that specializes in video games called DigiPen. And as has been mentioned earlier, we're hosting a international AES conference this summer. And Lawrence Schwedler, who was here earlier, is one of the chairs. He's one of the co-chairs. He's a colleague of mine that I teach with, and he's co-chairing the event. And I'd like to invite all of you to come. It's going to be, I actually don't have the date off the top of my head, but maybe someone can help me post that into the chat. But we're going to be doing it.
Put it in there.
Okay,
it's
sweet.
The 15th to 17th of August.
15th through the 17th of August. I am one of the event coordinators. So I'm going to be starting to work more and more, helping make sure that the event is going to be a success, helping make sure that people that are there are going to, feel welcome and at home and know what's going on. So that's kind of what I'm going to be involved with this year. And then also working with Dan, who will be helping us out with his company, Dan Sound, who will be helping us out with the live sound element of that. And we worked with Dan Sound back in 2018, and it was amazing. So looking forward to working with Dan again. But that's me, interactive sound, video games. That's kind of where I'm doing a lot of things, doing a lot of sound design these days, less composition, unfortunately. Would love to do more, but lots of sound design. And I'm very pleased that I could be here with you all tonight. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Greg, and thanks to everybody. I think I got everybody. I think I'm the last one. So I do live sound for concerts and stuff like that when I'm doing what I want to do. And it was pretty grim for a year and a half there. But it started up again in July, and I've been doing a bunch of shows. And just day before yesterday, I did the first full concert, not socially distanced, vaccinations checked and masks by everybody, but full room, little 300 seat place that was sold out for a group that I've been working with for a long time. And that was it's been pretty cool doing sound for people and doing monitors and hearing sound through speakers rather than headphones or TV stuff on Zoom. And I'm looking forward to the AVAR thing this summer. I do the video distribution as well as the sound, and that's a challenge, but it's a great event, and I'm looking forward to that. And I like this a lot too. So thank you all for being part of it. So what do we want to talk about? My feeling is that when you are together with people who have similar interests to you and they have made the effort to be there, it's good to talk about something. And somebody who wants to talk about something should say, bring up a subject, we'll go wherever. Have you had Bruno? I see your hand.
Yeah, before the pandemic, this was an attraction, and as live sound and concert, and I think kind of just thinking of post-pandemic pivot. I bought a set of tickets to go hear Pearl Jam's last record in a movie theater because of immersive sound, and then that all happened and went away. Tomorrow, I'm going to see the Gorillaz do the same thing, but it's going to be live in a movie theater at the AMC Theater in South Center. Really, I can see why it works because the venue has immersive audio, unlike a normal venue wouldn't have that. So I just thought it was an interesting pivot on using existing venues for a live show.
And I bet they have like recirculated air or something too.
Fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more the bringing together of a live show and a movie theater.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be
Sounds
interested to
cool.
see how they control the dynamics because most movie systems won't really deal with live music.
Yeah. Are they bringing in a PA? Do you know?
No, I believe they're doing it this way because the movie theater's already set up with immersive audio experience.
Huh. Interesting.
So it'll be tomorrow. I'm kind of
Well,
excited.
you have to get back to us with a review.
Yeah,
How
definitely.
can you give us a report? Do you ever want to come on Saturdays?
Yeah, I can start to schedule a Saturday tea talk and
Great. They would
talk about it.
Great. And you don't even need to schedule anything. Often we just go wherever we go, just like this is going to be here today.
It's more scheduling myself. Got to tune in.
Yes. Yes.
It'll be tomorrow. So yeah, maybe on Saturday I can. I'll take a look. 3 o'clock.
That'd be great. Can you take a picture?
Yeah, I'll take a picture.
There?
Yeah, I'm sure. If the list restrict me, but yeah, I'll take a picture.
Great.
Early in the year, the reason why I was in tune to it because there's so much happening. The same artist Gorillas did a live show on the internet, where they only did 3 shows in certain time zones, and so it was really interesting. Yep, there you go. Yeah. So they're really using technology in a way to still reach a crowd without. The first one was interesting because they only had 3 shows. They did it in their own sound stage. They had holograms appear in this, which was great to be able to attend. Now they have this new thing that they've entered it into a cinema. So
I see. So they're streaming it effectively.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a live show in the theater.
Are the performers present or are they not present?
No, they were all performing live in London the first time.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So the audio has been massaged so the receiving system can deal with it.
But they perform live, and everybody
Sure.
else is around the world in a movie theater this time. So it'll be a different experience audio wise, as well as being with people.
Got it. So they're on the screen as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And do they use avatars or are you seeing pictures of people with instruments and
This was just, it was live, like they were on a stage, and then they you could see on the floor production tape lined out like boxes, like the live players needed to make sure that they weren't in that, because when they brought in the overlays of other performers, that they would display not on top of somebody else. So it's
right.
That was early on in the pandemic. That one was streamed on the internet, so it was just watching it. This one would be just a little bit different audio experience because of the theater.
Right.
That's really cool that you pulled that up so quickly there. Yeah, tomorrow.
Cool.
I got something interesting. I love doing show and tell, and I just happened to be a couple of days ago out in the garage unpacking some boxes from our move from LA here to Nashville area, and I happened to find I was on the MPEG committee also when we were designing the original MPEG compression standards, and I happened to find, let's see if this will come up here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, one of these kind of discs right here. This is the
What
very
a blast from the past.
It is. This is some of the very first code that we did for MPEG-1 layer 3, which we all now know as MP3. And this was from, oh, there we go. It's backward. Is it backwards to you guys?
No, it's just to you.
Just to me.
Straight for us.
Yeah, good.
Shareware encoder and decoder version 2.0.
Yes, exactly. And so this was from way back in, what was it, 2000?
94, 95.
94, 95, yeah. I was on the MPEG committee for about 6 years, actually, from, well, anyway, during that time, from the late 80s up into the mid-90s. And anyway, that's some of the very first MP3 or MPEG-1 layer 3 audio on that disc.
Cool. Can you
As
play it
far
for
as
us?
the code, the encoder and decoder, because I was doing software simulation models for that.
Can you play it for us? Although you've frozen now. Oh,
Oh,
there
am
you
I
are.
frozen? Oh,
Not anymore.
not anymore. Good. Yeah, let me get back to gallery view here. Yeah, there's nothing to play. This is just software.
It's just
Just
code,
the
right?
encoder and decoder, the software. Because we were doing the software simulation models to prove that the theory actually would work if you ran audio through that software. Could you encode it and decode it and all that? So yeah, but that was a blast from the past.
Neat. Alan?
Thanks.
Oh, Alan's leaving, I think. Okay. Anybody else? Speaking of blast from a past, at our meeting last Saturday, Jerry Jensen played a video that was recorded of a session that some work that he was doing with George Massenburg at in 1990, was it?
92, 91, 92,
Yeah,
something like that.
early. That some studio had gotten, Massenburg studio, I assume, had gotten a Neve VR console, which had something in it that let you see the settings of all the knobs on the console on a TV screen, on a CRT screen. And they wanted to be able to take pictures for recalling settings. And it was a big console, right? So there's a million things. And it almost would work, but they couldn't do it. Jerry was a software writer and software guy, and he and George were working for 6 weeks or something to try to get this to work. And this video seemed to have been taken near the end of it, and they were frustrated that it would not do what they wanted. And the end of it was, I mean, this is a big console, right? 8 feet long or something or more. And George is jumping up and down on the armrest because it's so frustrating, and not on the knobs or anything, but on the armrest. But he said early on when they were figuring it out, he said, you know, in the future, they're going to do all recording sessions like this on this kind of virtual console. And damn, he was right. He was absolutely right. He saw the future.
Yeah, and I
think
mean,
he
and
said that
and
was
I can
Lucasfilm,
call up a
wasn't it?
mixer from years past, and all the knobs are set. So
Yeah. Gary said it was at Lucasfilm, and that's where it was.
Yeah, it's a big control surface at that point. The computers are elsewhere.
Right.
I still have a bunch of 5 1/4 floppies somewhere from old SSL mixes from 84, maybe 85.
So you can pull up that exact mix.
Right.
All you need is a floppy reader.
Good
That's
luck
all.
finding one of those.
Yeah, it's hard enough finding an optical drive these days.
Well, you could go to REPC in Seattle. I'm sure they would have one.
I've got about 8 of them in my office if somebody needs one.
Do you really?
I also have one.
What do you connect them to?
For me, it was an old digital camera that my family had, a very old version of a digital camera, and it recorded onto those floppy disks that Joe showed. It was that size. It wasn't the 5 1/4, but the 3 1/2, I think.
Yeah.
3 1/2, yeah.
But it would record onto those, and the image quality was just atrocious in hindsight. But I had a big thing of floppies, and that was where all my photos were on. And
Sony Mavica.
I forget what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, thinking about just what we can do with a digital audio workstation compared, now what we can do, just there's almost like no limits creatively speaking, and just thinking about what people would have done had they had those those kinds of tools back in the day is pretty astounding to think of. And I think on the other side of that token today, it can be daunting to make new art because there's just so much control. There's
there's another
almost
way to-
limitless possibility, right? So, and
Yeah.
a lot of great ideas have been done. But I still think that one of the reasons why I'm refreshed every day to work on music is I think that we still haven't discovered, we've only scratched the surface of what we can discover. So,
Greg, there's two sides to this, because I understand what you're saying, but there's also, it seems like technological limitations have forced us to be more creative at times. And that's why a lot of the albums from before digital technology came down, where we were just, winging a lot of stuff in and 4 hands on the board to do a mix and all that. Some of those mixes came out just brilliant. Some of those things were every bit as good, if not better, because in a way, having too many choices does not force you to make artistic decisions on the spot. And that's when you start getting bogged down with 200 tracks and, a virtually infinite number of plugins, which does that help your creativity, or does that actually distract you and hurt you from it? It's sort of an interesting discussion.
I think now's the time for self-imposed restrictions. So that is the next step for inducing creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Mac, did you have something to say?
Well, they're also, having worked in theater and a number of other places, as well as studios, it all comes down to the source. And I've been privileged to work with some amazing musicians and groups. And, if you don't have a good source, I don't care what you do to it, it's not gonna get better.
That is very true for sound design as well. I work with lots of libraries, and sometimes when I'm just hitting my head against a problem in the studio, it all comes back to, I feel, usually if I'm hitting a wall, it usually comes down to the fact that if I could go back and if I could actually find better source, then I would probably be able to solve my problem
That's
20 times faster.
That was always a huge problem doing sound design for theater, which I did for quite a while, and finding source for things. And I actually did quite a bit of field recording.
Yeah, that's fun stuff doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Bruno, did you have a comment?
Oh, yeah, I recently was on a group, and we talked about recording and production and everything. It was like, yeah, the song is the most important thing. That it's like to remember what are we working with in my field versus if you're in broadcast recording football or anything. But I understand too. It's like gear doesn't make everything happen, and don't chase it, because I have my 4-track right next to
All right.
I look over all the time. I'm like, yeah, all the things I did on this and this, the world that of creativity that I was working with, bouncing and doing so many things, and then being able to finally bounce to a CD and bounce back if I wanted to, but so whenever I'm like, oh, I got to have a new plugin, I'm like, I look over and I'm like, no, I don't.
Good reminder.
It still works. I pull some of my old tapes out and run them into my DAW, and I'm like, oh wow, that's cool. Let me take that little snippet and build upon it if I'm looking for an idea. But.
Cool. From a live sound perspective, PA type, this new stuff has made things much easier in a lot of ways. I can have 10 racks of stuff that would have been 10 racks and a lot of weight, and it's all in a little tiny box. The show that I did a couple days ago, the last time we did it was 2 years ago. It's an annual Christmas show, and there was one new person in the group, but everybody else was the same. So everything else but that one person was exactly the same as it was when we left it 2 years ago. Wow. So just turned the mic on and it was the right mix in all the monitors, and it was way easier. So there you go.
That's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, it's incredible. And Mac, I realized that I skipped over you in the introductions, I think, right? You didn't introduce yourself.
I don't know.
Did you? So I think it's the small letters in your name. I didn't see it. So where are you and what's your audio connection before we move on?
I'm up on Whidbey Island, Washington, about 20 miles north of Seattle, and across a bit of water. I've done a lot of things, from mechanic, broadcast, a lot of theater work, studio maintenance. I don't know. Last 25 odd years, we've been specializing in making museums. So that's what I do. So audio, not as much as I used to. I'm actually sort of getting back into doing soundtracks and things like that, because a lot of places seem to want background audio to a theme. We just did a background for a mine display, as in mine where you dig out in the ground. So it's a composite thing. And originally it's going to be 8 tracks. The speakers dodged around, but then they decided they didn't like the price, so it got dumbed down. So it's only 4 tracks now. But that's sort of amusing. But similar to what you were saying about live sound, when I was doing theater all the time, I had 5 tape recorders in my living room and doing layering with foot starts and a mixing console. Now it's one screen, and slide tracks up, move them around, fades, effects, whatever you want. It's all in the box, and then you spit it out the other end onto a card, and you're done. So I must admit, I don't really miss razor blading.
All right, thanks. And are you in front of a virtual background, or is that real?
No, that's real.
All right.
I'm kind of a gear junkie. What can I say? Actually, of those, 2 pieces have nothing to do with audio. The rest of them have to do with either logic, RF. What else is back there? Yeah, mostly logic and RF.
What about the microwave oven?
Yeah.
Well, that's essential.
What? That's RF.
That's how I keep my coffee warm. So somebody was throwing it out, and so that's a pretty fancy microwave. I bet I can fix that. It cost me $8 to fix it. So,
sweet.
Yeah, it's an inverter, so it's totally variable power, up and down. Unlike the usual ones where you set it for 25% power and it goes on for 25% of the time, but when it's on, it's full power. Anyway, it's fun.
Well, we'll have to have a tour of all your goodies back there.
Well, this is actually not my bench. This is my study. My bench at this point is much more crowded, and that's where the audio stuff is. I mean, I've got, I don't know, I sort of lost count of how many distortion analyzers and other fun things like that I've got. And I just want to use my medium frequency spectrum analyzer, which is 0 to 40 megahertz. And it made an ominous noise and the lights went out. So I've got to pull it down off of the rack. The problem is it weighs 75 pounds. So
We have a hand up.
no, I can get it down. I just need to make sure I figure out how I'm going to do it.
No, I was saying that one of the Eduardo has a hand up.
Oh, okay, Eduardo, go ahead.
And he's muted.
He doesn't show us muted, but we're not hearing anything.
Well,
yeah,
he's got no sound. He's not muted technically, but
Dear.
Right, something is
Battery
happening. I didn't mute you.
Everybody else's battery has failed. Why not?
Yeah.
Add one more to the list, right?
Looks like
Yeah.
he's gonna retry.
Is it working now?
There you
Oh
go.
yeah, there we go.
There you go. Go ahead.
It's let me set this on speaker, I guess. So there's a new piece of technology of these speakers called Holoplot. They're from Germany, and it's pretty interesting. It's like a big matrix. Maybe it has 100 little drivers, each speaker. And then you could localize each section, let's say with different languages. So you could have a group sitting in a room, and from left to right, you could have each language on each area. So let's say the first row of chairs is German, the third row is French, and the next row Spanish. And it works really well. It's really impressive. I went to a demo here from a friend of mine, Miguel he had it, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. And it could have different usage, right? From something like having a group there and having an interview and having different languages, to live sound too. And they also have panels that go around the room, and the sound bounces off it, and it creates some sort of surround system. Yeah, that's it, Holoplot. And it also has XY, so people that are below certain level could hear also like different things, different audio.
That's great. I'll have to look at that, because we do use highly directional speakers in museums and such.
Hold on a second, I can't hear.
It's not just directional, though. It's using cancellation to specifically locate it in space.
Right. It's super interesting, and it sounds really good. Let's see if I get this going again.
There was a thing at DigiPen, a presentation a few years ago. They have a spring event, and Shawari.
Yeah, I can speak a little bit about this. There's a guy named Edgar Shawari, and he's, I believe, at Princeton. Oh, I'm hearing an echo. But yeah, he's actually a rocket scientist at Princeton. I think it's Princeton, but he's also an acoustician, and he's built. He's a binaural sound enthusiast, and he's built a system that translates binaural sound experiences over loudspeakers. And it uses phase cancellation to try to cancel out the sound reaching the left ear, trying to decorrelate the sound using phase cancellation so that you hear the sound. The way that it's set up right now is if you sit in the sweet spot, it works. Like I can tell you, no lie.
Yeah,
we set it up and it works. But the way that it's set up right now is you have to sit in a sweet spot.
Yeah.
And when you do,
anywhere else, yeah.
If you do it, and you also have to calibrate the system to take into account how the speakers are interacting with the room. But once you've done that, when you're sitting in the sweet spot, it's a very immersive aural experience. But what Edgar was working on was trying to sort of take this same idea and be able to direct it in different directions. And he claimed that in the future, that when a family is sitting in a car, that each of the people in the car will be able to hear their own mix of music.
Yeah.
Not with headphones. Not with headphones.
Yeah, and I can swear that I was at that demo that he did, and the guy in front of me, or two people in front of me, was in the sweet spot, but I was straight behind him. And when he started the demo, I kept hearing these people behind me talking, And I turned around to say, shut up, you guys. I'm trying to hear this. And it was not, there was nobody there talking. They were all quiet. It was part of the presentation. So it
wow.
worked. The sweet
Okay.
spot is more horizontal in that case anyway than it was front and back. And it was just two speakers. It wasn't this big array that Eduardo was talking about, which sounds much more complex and able to, sounds like do multiples of them. So that's amazing. I'm guessing, will that come up at AVAR? I don't know if that's an AVAR thing or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly because I'm not on the papers committee.
Yeah,
I'm not exactly sure. But thanks, Jess, for posting that info. That is who I'm talking about. And that paper that Jess posted relates directly to what we're talking about. If you're curious, I do have a couple of the binaural. One of the nice things was Edgar gave us a pair of their custom binaural microphones. They currently have a finicky connection, but if anybody is curious, that reminds me, I need to send them back to Edgar to get them fixed because they're completely custom. The other weird thing about these mics is that they're frequency calibrated, like down to I forget what the variation was, but it's very, very excellent calibration between the left and the right ear in terms of frequency domain, but they are not calibrated in terms of amplitude. And I've never seen anything like that. But I think it was maybe a way to cut costs. But it's a little bit weird because they're perfect calibration between the two ears, but there's differences in sensitivity between the two.
Was this thing a dummy head, or was it little microphones you put in your own ears to?
Great question, Joe. It's actually, microphones that you stick inside of your ears.
Oh, so the Pinia transformations, the HRTF would be that of the person.
Yep. You can become the dummy.
Yes. Well, that's easy.
That was not pointed at you, Joe.
Yeah. But no, the original head related transfer function of each person was important to this thing working. Yes. Eduardo, do you know if that's important to this or not, to the thing you're talking about? You're muted. There you go.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, no, with the holoplot, it's more just a sound. You could be in any spot close to the speakers, and it's pretty wide. You don't and the recordings, I know it's you could have any setting like 7.1 or 20, however you want to set it up. It has a computer with where you could route as many speakers as you set in a room, and then it's pretty complex. It's more like an XY array, and you could move the sounds around and they feed to the amplifiers. And then, but as you walk, there's a point, where it fades into the new material or the other material. So they had a presentation of the NASA landing with all the different radio from different countries talking about it at kind of, and then you start walking in the room and you hear all the different languages. It's pretty amazing. Now I know they sold a system to the railway in Germany, so there are information spots where they have in the floor the flags, and then you stand there and it tells you the schedule or the road, like what you want to take or what they're doing in the intercom in different languages, and you stand there. So I think that they're trying to move into different markets, with the technology. But I see it awesome for an installation. Like I brought my kids and they were just having a ball walking around. I'm like, you could do like a zoo type of thing with animals, right? In different spots where you go up the ladders and then you hear birds, or you go somewhere else, like it could be really fun. But
Amazing.
music sounds really good too. And they were doing crazy stuff like with the drums, and it sounded like you were sitting in the drums because the isolation is kind of crazy, right? Of how things sound, and it must be interesting to see how all the filters work on that technology to do that for the phasing, how it works, because you don't hear too many artifacts. It's very clean. It has a lot of headroom too. So you could have a band. I think when I heard it, that was my feeling, like, wow, you could have like, it sounds very open, and it has, they have low end too. They have two stacks. They have the low end side of it, like a sub, and then they have the tops, and then they have like a center section. There's 4 speakers that maybe between those is maybe 400 little drivers in the center section, and then the side. So they did have a left, right, and a center.
There we go.
Yeah. So that's how they
Wow.
Mm-hmm. They
So
put
they're
that in the
able to
center, and then
they're
they,
able to locate the subwoofer frequencies
yeah.
differently in locations.
No, that's more Omni, but
Yeah.
they stack those on top of some subs, and
Uh-huh.
so they do give, but the range was pretty good. So I was like, wow, with the music, when they played music, it
Wow.
was really interesting, and they could do different layouts like that. Yeah.
Incredible.
Wow.
And it's pretty interesting. I was blown away of the possibilities. It's just very interesting. You could have a show with the 2 singers, one in each language or something.
Wow.
You know, and have one side. Oh, you want to hear it in another language? Cross over to that side or something.
Oh.
I don't know.
God,
It could be
incredible.
really fun. Yeah.
That's
And they just came
great.
to America. My friend, I'm from Venezuela, and is one of my best friends. He's Venezuelan German, and he used to work here at TC, and then then he worked for the DMB for the speakers,
Huh.
and now he works for them. So they're very small, but I think they're trying to pitch it. They're building this dome in Las Vegas. It's a huge dome that is like a sphere for shows, and I think they want to install it
MGM.
there. It's that huge.
MGM.
It's like a huge dome they're building in Las Vegas for shows, like a 360 experience. It's
Yeah.
enormous. It's like half a planet. And so I think they want to do a whole area with those to try it and see if they do something. So he went there last month. It's been hard, you know, with the whole thing of but I think they're on it. They're gonna do something in there with those speakers.
Just put a link to the
Yeah.
sphere.
Thanks, Jess.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Did they
that
talk
sphere,
pricing with you at all?
No, no, I just went. But Miguel, yeah, he's in charge of all that. I could tell him to pop on the Zoom, so he could give more technical of the setup. Is pretty interesting. It's all with Cat 5 and with I think they use Dante, and it's really good. He worked for a bunch of years with TC doing the processors for live sound and all that. So they're pretty technical. They have the knowledge.
I
So
just sent you my email address, and we'd love to hear about this on Saturdays.
Great.
I was just thinking that would be a great tea
That'd
time
be a
topic.
great topic, yeah. And we've got a number of the people here are part of it, and we ask questions. We're not shy about asking questions, and love hearing nitty gritty stuff. So
yeah, and it's a leap. It's a leap on doing fun things with sound. it's super fun. Like your ideas when you're there, you're like, oh, this could work for this or
Yeah.
that, you know. So
Yeah.
they're
Well, thanks
also
for
eager
sharing
to
that.
see what could be done.
Thanks for
Cheers.
sharing
Yeah,
that.
awesome.
And I would love to learn more. So please contact me, and we would love to hear it.
Yeah, I'll tell Miguel to swing by for sure. He's really cool, and he's also eager. He's like, oh, nobody knows about this. We're doing all this, and it's so hard to have eyes, right?
Yeah.
On things. I'm like, they don't. I guess they don't have the money to yet, you know, to show it. But I'm sure we'll see it. You know, they were trying to talk to Disney and different people, you know, like to bring it over, because more like in Europe, they know a little more because they're a little more out there doing installations and art things. The government is a bit more avant-garde in that sense. Like they put them in places like, oh yeah, bring it over and install it. And it's like, oh, okay, great.
Great.
So they want to do that here too.
All right, thank you.
Cool. I'm gonna
You'd be
write your
totally
email
welcome
down.
to come to AVAR.
Oh
just,
yeah.
Just pitching that, you know, here in Redmond, we're going to be doing a audio for virtual and augmented reality conference this summer. So this kind of thing, and we do allow companies to set up demos and.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm gonna write down. I guess I go here. What in the chat, right? Because I'm on my phone now. Chat, and I'll copy the email.
Okay.
Awesome, right here.
Good. I don't know how that works on how Zoom works on the phone. So you're
yeah, it's like my second time with the Zoom in the phone, but great. I just copy it, so that's fantastic.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Other things. I'm going to leave in about 10 minutes, I think, but anybody want to talk about something else? See the things we've turned up here? I mean, This is awesome. This is great. Thank you.
I have a question for you guys. It's past my bedtime, so my brain is slowing down. But I'm working on another project doing a computational analysis of comparing Jewish prayer recitations to the Moroccan call to prayer, the Muslim call to prayer, both in Morocco, to see whether geography or faith has a greater influence over musical expression.
Wow.
It's cool. And I'm using Sonic Visualizers, this free program. And so the audio transforms that are possible, I basically everything shows something, right? And I'm struggling to figure out how to, like, what metric to use to quantify stylistic similarity. And so you guys are all infinitely more experienced than I. And so that's the one thing that I'm terrible with statistics, and just not sure, like, whether I've been using pitch contours, which is okay. And then you get, a line chart, but they're all different from each other, even the same lines of text from the same location. So I don't think pitch contours are really the right way to go. I wonder if you guys have any thoughts.
It sounds like a musical issue rather than a content issue.
I know of some good references that relate not so much to music styles, but more to bioacoustics and sort of sound ecology. And if you look at sort of what those folks are doing, commonly what they're trying to do is they're trying to study the sonic signature of an ecosystem and how it evolves over time and take samples and things like that. And I know that that's different than what you're talking about, but I feel like that's sort of related. And there's a great book that I highly recommend if you haven't already read it by, I'm forgetting the author's name at the moment, it'll come to me, but it's called The Great Animal Orchestra. It's studying the origins.
Bernie Krause.
Bernie Krause, the great synthesist turned bioacoustician. He wrote a book called The Great Animal Orchestra, learning about the origins of the world's sound through the world's wild places. And basically the thesis of that book is that human music has evolved from geographical and biological sound. So that music had to evolve from someplace, and where humans made that initial connection was listening to birds, listening to insects, listening to all the other music making things around them. So I think that might be an interesting source when you're looking at sort of like where do the because when we look at what happens in the animal kingdom, animals carve out signatures, sonic signatures, so that they can live, so they can have those frequencies, and they evolve, to carve out frequencies that they can communicate. So the bioacousticians are very concerned with sound pollution, because sound pollution can get in the way of those unique signatures that the animals are making. But I just thought I'd throw that at you because it's a little bit, I feel like that's related to what you're after.
Well, I've heard the story too that we could sing before we could talk, but then I'm remembering a story that my mother told me about some German ornithologist that had a songbird, and he taught it the German national anthem, and it could sing it.
And what go ahead.
Oh, thanks. Just kind of what along the lines of what Greg was saying with the bioacoustics, I was remembering AVAR 2020 when Poppy Crumb had her presentation. It is recorded in the 2020 AVAR website, but she was talking also about how in our voices you can actually tell now different medical traits, like maybe if Alzheimer's is starting to develop, things of that nature. And she's really at like the cutting edge forefront of this kind of technology. And so maybe that's a clue, or I saw the My Voice AI thing. Also I put in there because there are a lot of these bioacoustic feedback for voice things happening within the AI world that may help you on your path. I don't know. Just a couple leads there. Hope it helps.
Thank you, everybody. I have so many tabs now to look at tomorrow.
Have you had anybody who is trained musically who can recognize scales and intervals and that kind of stuff? That's not my world, but
it's a good question. I want to find an ethnomusicologist who is like familiar with Morocco specifically, because I was reading something about Baroque music and how Baroque music has these repeated patterns of like decorating notes. And so I'm wondering if there's a similar type style that can be associated with that region. There probably is. So yeah, it's a good idea. if anybody knows an ethnomusicologist working on Morocco, I would.
Gary Louie.
Really?
Gary Louie works at a place that has an ethnomusicology school or department. Gary, do you know anybody there?
It turns out that one of our retired ethnomusicology professors was nominated for a Grammy for his album of music in Morocco, but I have no idea if he's really into that or if he was more into the person who actually did these recordings. And he retired. I'm not sure I know how to find him right now, so I'll make a note of it.
Do you know his name?
Philip Schuyler. Looks like Schuler, but pronounced Schuyler. He enjoyed going to the Grammy ceremony, he said.
I bet.
That was his first nomination.
But you would think that the style of music in different places would use different scales, I guess, for lack of a better term, sequences of notes that sound appropriate to them that are not necessarily appropriate to anybody else. And maybe there's things that are unique to those different cultures that you're looking at. And that's what you want to figure out, is what they have in common and how they're different.
I mean, when you listen to them, they sound like, qualitatively, they sound very similar. And so I'm trying to find a way to quantify that similarity by, like, as a way to, oh, cool. Okay. Philip D. Schuler, or Schuyler, sorry. Yeah, as a way to break down barriers, ultimately, is my goal, to show that, look, you know, the region, even sacred music from totally different faiths, opposing faiths, in fact, express themselves similarly. That's kind of the goal.
Now go back to that slide, Gary, please.
Yeah, it said it was from the Library of Congress.
Yeah, that's a Paul Bowles recording that he made in 1959. Paul Bowles was a composer and free thinker, and before his time, and he moved to Morocco and he composed things there, but he mainly lived there. And he was a fascinating character. He's long dead, I believe. And we just watched a movie about him a year ago now, I guess. And he had a wife, Jane Bowles, who was a noted author. And anyway, so this guy, Schuyler, would have, it sounds like this album, he did something with the music that Paul Bowles recorded 60 some years ago.
Yeah, that's right. And
yeah,
he did a lot of the compilation and some remastering, and
yeah,
Rick Fisher got also was part of the nomination group, and
yeah.
I
So
got
this might go ahead.
I got a little credit on the album.
Cool.
Awesome.
Cool. So this might be a dead end from that standpoint, unless Philip Schuyler is into Moroccan music.
Well, he might be. He is
which is why he did this.
Of ethnomusicology, yeah.
Yeah. So he must be reachable.
Yeah.
And
It's a small
findable.
world.
I'll have
the
to.
world of ethnomusicology. Chances are that if Philip Schuyler can't point you in the right direction, he can point you to someone who can.
Yeah.
Totally.
Dan?
Yeah.
Do you know where Bowles is from?
The movie that we saw had some biographical information about him, but I don't recall spontaneously, no.
Okay, this is a really long shot connection. There's a guy who lives in the Bay Area, and he's Don von Recklinghausen's nephew. And so you're going, what the fuck is that? What's the connection?
Daniel von Recklinghausen?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was the chief engineer at H.H. Scott.
Huh.
And the guy who's his nephew is a recording engineer, and he's in the Bay Area. And I see him online from time to time, and we might even have his name in one of our name collections somewhere.
Huh.
But his last name is Bowles, and the relation, I believe, is through his mother.
Oh, Paul and Jane didn't have any children.
No,
for what
but
that's
they
worth.
could be they could be related to his mother somehow.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Huh. Okay. Thanks,
Yeah,
Adi.
it's an interesting question, and I think that the two things that I think come to play are, of course, physics and the harmonic series, and just how a lot of people would argue that that's this sort of physical, omnipresent musical relationship that, you know, connects with everyone because of harmonicity and the way that the mathematics work there. And then the other is the heartbeat aspect of it. And I think that those kinds of things are, you know, just so intertwined with being a human that lives on Earth. Those are things that are omnipresent.
How do you reconcile Chinese music, for example,
I was just going to say,
with Bach or whoever?
Well, they both use harmony in a very similar way.
Similar?
Yeah. For example, I mean, I'm no expert, but from the, Chinese music that I've heard, they use more limited scales than maybe we do in Western music, but their scales still consist of tones that are arranged in a similar manner. There's a lot more ornamentation in that music. There's a lot more decoration and embellishment than there is in Western music. But if we look at kind of the harmonic structure and the way that the scales are built, I think we find that there's definitely some common ground. But again, I'm not an expert.
We got to find some musicologists and who are interested in talking about that to dummies who don't know anything about it. Because I've been under the impression that there are musical uniquenesses across cultures, that what one culture digs, other cultures don't dig at all. And there are differences in time between cultures, how we perceive it and act upon it, and space. We all different cultures treat space differently. So some cultures are more comfortable talking to somebody this far apart, and others, if you're that close, you're really threatening. I think
we
music
also
is
hear
similar.
with an accent.
Pardon me?
We hear with an accent. So there's another. This is more the anthropology side of things, but critical listening positionality is the intersection of listening and critical race theory, talking about how our unique perspective colors what and how we hear. And there's a lot of criticisms of the term soundscape, actually, because it privileges a very particular position. There's from this position, there's the right way and the wrong way. And R. Murray Schafer, when he designed the term, he contributed a lot to music, but he was not pretty racist dude, and said a lot of really not so great things. And he, when coming up with that term, he intended it to be the things that one should be hearing in an area, and with gentrification, the different neighborhoods encroaching on these pure sound spaces. So anyway, now I'm going all anthropology. Sorry.
Well, the R. Murray Schafer stuff really, I think, intersects with the relationship that Krauss and these kinds of folks have with bioacoustics and the sort of reverence for natural soundscape. R. Murray Schafer did concerts that were outdoors, and the unique location of those events was paramount to his vision of what that musical composition was supposed to be. And so I think in some ways, that's one of the most interesting things. I wasn't aware that he had a racist past, but just looking at where R. Murray Schafer really innovates, it's his use of natural landscape in the performance practice of his compositions that's really interesting. And there seems to be, in my opinion, a sort of reverence for nature and the natural soundscape in his work. And I think obviously, we think of him as being the person that coined that term soundscape, much as we think of Eno as being the person that coined the term ambient or whatever. But that's not, there's more to soundscape than R. Murray Schafer. There's more to ambient music that came well before Eno coined that term. So just kind of thinking about
You guys have far-reaching.
They, yeah, but I can definitely see that there could be some, I think when you look at academic music, which is like what R. Murray Schafer was involved with, anytime you have like academia involved in some sort of movement, there's always going to be, I think, some way to look at that and say that's elitist. That
Well, I mean, the man literally called Inuit music. He compared it to Sir Winston Churchill clearing his throat. I mean, like really, yeah, like just not, and this is the man who founded like the World Music Foundation or something.
Right.
Sort
Yep.
of.
Well, it was true. It was
Yep.
true also when we look at,
Yep.
the field recordists in the United States. If you look at, Alan Lomax, and you look at the history of these folk recordists, there's the more romantic version of it, which is that they were out going and recording folk songs so that they could document what was happening, because they wanted to document, folklore in America. But then there's also the other side of it where it when you look at it, it was also exploitive.
Yeah.
And they were going
He
around
sold
and they were trying
those
to,
recordings and never paid the artists. I mean, it doesn't get much more exploitive than that.
right. And so how do we look at them? Are they heroes? Are they? And it's complicated. But I think it's interesting. And I think that it's worth like studying the history and being able to make up your own ideas and, make your own decisions about kind of what you think about it. But I think it is, it's revelatory, when we start to be more critical about the things that we've learned, and we try to understand more of that history and what was the reasoning behind it. And a lot of times, for better or worse, because money is driving a lot of this, it's where things come from. Things unfortunately don't just evolve out of thin air. Often it's money that's driving
Colonialism. A lot of it is colonialism.
Which is money.
Yeah.
Well,
True.
Sometimes people were archiving too, and it's almost like it was seen as like photography, So you will capture the natives, and then you will do a show in a gallery about it. Maybe somebody bought your picture. Maybe they will just give credit to the tribe or something, and that was it.
Or
So
not give credit to the tribe at all.
you will go with an Agra back in the day, whoever could buy one and have the money, usually, or a good camera. And it will be that type of person that will go and travel and capture the world, back then, I guess, some sort of character also.
When you were talking about tonalities of things, I recorded a concert here in Portland, Third Angle New Music Ensemble, which is very avant-garde, if you will. But they also like to present a lot of ethnic work. However, there was this one fella who had picked up a guitar that had not been built properly, and the bridge and the frets were not properly aligned, and he did some musical compositions that explored what he'd gotten out of that. So
amazing.
That's cool. I like that.
To be played on one instrument only.
that's about the size.
I was just typing that I've got to get going here because I haven't had dinner yet. And
Okay.
you guys can do whatever you want. But thank you.
I think I've got to bow out too. I got recording work tomorrow. So
Sorry, is
Go ahead.
David Bowles, is that Paul Bowles' relative then? Because Paul Bowles.
That was the question.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Okay,
I
we don't know.
don't know for sure. it's a long shot, and the
Gary wrote that this is a different Bowles. Different than what?
Oh, I didn't realize Rick was saying this could be his son or something like that.
No,
Not his son. It's not his son. I believe
a
that.
relative
Sure.
through his mother.
Oh,
Yeah. Or brother or something.
Well, his mother was a Bowles. Or no, I'm sorry. His mother was related to von Recklinghausen.
Okay.
And I think he got Bowles. He must have gotten Bowles through his father, but maybe somehow that's related. And I'm saying that the fact that he's an audio engineer could be part of the connection.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
But I knew the name and how to find the info.
All right. If I have some spare time, I'll send him a note and say, "Are you related by any chance to Paul or Jane Bowles?"
There you go.
They are a fascinating couple, boy. It's a very interesting relationship between them, and very interesting lives. If you have a chance to look at that. Anyway, yeah.
Dan, would you mind typing, if you can remember, what the name of that documentary was? For
I don't
those of us
remember. I don't remember.
Probably
Where did you get it?
Netflix.
Oh.
I get the discs, so it's in the disc section of Netflix, not the streaming. Might be in the streaming, but it's
Okay, something to look at. Yeah, I'd never heard of him.
Yeah, he was when he was young, he was an up and coming composer, and he composed a couple of things in his life, and one of them I know because it was recorded at 30th Street by this group, Gold and Fizdale, who were two pianists who were gay and out and proud in the 1950s, which was unusual. And they did this recording in the 30th Street studio in New York, and Fred Plout took a ton of pictures of it, and his pictures were used on the album cover. And there were 4 Black female soloists as part of it. And Fred had a picture, I think, of Jane Bowles. And Fred Plout, the recording engineer, knew all of these people from Europe. He had been in Europe, and there are pictures of him with Pablo Picasso and people like that. And Stravinsky would hang out with them when he came to New York. And anyway, it was amazing that I think he hung out with Jane Bowles, who has books about her and is a fascinating person. So that's about all I know about it. And I rented this movie to watch Paul Bowles, and there was some Jane Bowles stuff in it too. So there you go. So I'm going to bail. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. Have a good night.
Good night.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
Isn't that a great conversation? Jesus. I mean, that's what we love.
Yeah.
Adi, great talking with you.
Yes,
Let's
thank you.
continue
All
to
of you.
talk
Great
more.
meeting
I
all
have
of you.
lots more to think about what you said, and so I'll continue to think about that. Maybe we could chat some more.
Yeah, that'd be great. Definitely.
Okay.
Yes, nice meeting all of you. Have a great night. Talk to you all soon.
Bye.